So I'm in a room with 50 people who all knew Keith much better than I did. But I did know him a long time. I first met Keith in 1978 when he was just starting his career as a San Francisco photographer, and I was just beginning as a San Francisco art director. That was at Botsford Ketchum, for those of you in the industry that remember some of the older agencies. My last professional job with Keith was in 2000, so we worked together pretty continually for that period of time. I followed Keith through his photography journey, but I knew almost nothing about his personal life. And Keith, of course, knew everything about my personal life. A couple of the things that you pointed out was how much he was fond of your children. My son went into the Army, and he started his Army career at the Defense Language Institute, and Keith just could not, that just knocked him out. Keith was always interested in my son's journey. He would always ask about my son Ethan. We shot a lot of different kinds of projects. The most memorable project we shot was for an assignment where the working title was describing what up to your ass in alligators look like. Keith rented 2 crocodiles, live crocodiles. So we were in his studio with a 3-foot and a 5-foot crocodile. We shot in perspective so they would be about the same size with a crocodile wrangler. They were very docile. I mean, they looked ferocious, and it turns out they look their most ferocious when they're yawning because they're sleepy. Keith was always extremely imaginative, and I never lost sight of the fact that he was an artist. I did one assignment for a company called George Litho. We'd come up with this idea of an album, and I wanted to feature 5 unique photographers from San Francisco, and Keith was one of them. There were, but the photographers were all different kinds of genres. Keith chose to shoot the assignment on Polaroid negative film. So it got the most interesting color. Keith was always experimenting. I always loved Keith's approach to photography, and early on he asked me if I would help him market his work. And you know, again, the San Francisco photography market was really crowded, and lots of you, a couple of you are here, very talented people. So how best to try and communicate the fact that Keith was different and brought a different perspective? And so the marketing title of that campaign, which ran for a couple of years, I think, was Imported from California. And it really did, can't take credit for a lot of creative genius, but the idea behind it was it really did capture the fact that what Keith brought was unusual. I'll tell you one final story. Someone was asking me why I left the advertising business, and I left it with remnants of my sanity and the fact that I had not become addicted to any controlled substance. Not true of most of my peers. But it was a very difficult environment, and at one point I had I had a mental breakdown on the job. So who showed up to drive me home? Keith. So when you talk about someone who was, in the parlance of the day, he was there for you. Keith was always there for me. Thank you very much.